I'm back. Hi everyone, welcome or welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amy. I'm a mum of 2 boys and really happen to love books. Apart from the last few months where I have been in the biggest reading slump and life slump ever. It has been awful. I've been poorly, I've been just mentally done, and reading has not been my top priority. I've only read 10 books so far and we are on the 6th of April. I've read 10 books in 4 months. Not been great, guys, if I'm honest. Well, I say 4 months, 3 and a bit months, but I feel like I'm starting to get my mojo back and the sun is now coming out. It is currently 6:10 when I'm filming this and it is light outside, and that is just the best feeling ever. And I've just finished a series which I've been wanting to finish for months. It's taken me months to read the series from start to finish, and there is going to be a reading vlog hopefully coming out soon. But in this video I am going to do I'm not going to do them quarterly throughout the whole year, I don't think. I think I'm going to go back to doing monthly wrap-ups depending on how well I read for the rest of the year, because it could still go really badly, we'll just have to see. But this is going to be my first quarter of 2025 reading wrap-up, so everything that I've read from January to March. It's not a lot, but you know what, it's absolutely okay. I've had a lot of life stuff going on. I haven't been happy in myself or in my personal circumstances, and I have been working really hard to change those, and now I am starting to change them and I can feel myself getting lighter and happier. So hopefully I can get back to what I love, and reading is one of them, and I really hope that I can start reading more and more again very soon. But I wanted to get back into filming, get back into booktube, because I have missed it so much, and I'm hoping to stay for good this time and upload on a regular basis, so we shall see how that goes. So we're going to go through everything I read from January to March. So let's start with January. So in January, I'm not going to go through page numbers or anything with my story graph or anything like that, just because for the sake of 2 books, I don't think it's really worth it. If I'd read like 6 or 7 books, I would totally do my story graph statistics, but just for the sake of ease and to wrap this up very quickly, and then I can just put these books back on my shelf and focus on all the other books that I haven't read yet, we're just gonna go through the books. So the first book I read was Perfume by Patrick Suskind. This is like a historical, I wouldn't say horror, but a thriller style, I would say. This is one of the weirdest books I have ever read. I read it once in college when I had to do a literary comparison between, what was it? I can't even remember now. Wuthering Heights, that was it. I had to do a comparison between a book of my choosing and Wuthering Heights, and I ended up picking this one. So I read it very briefly in college, but then reading it as an adult, this book is so weird. So weird. So the basic premise is we follow a young boy named Grenouille. This is set in France in like the 1700s, and Grenouille has basically been shunned by everyone who sees him because he does not smell of anything. He is seen as a very strange boy and he has no scent, but he, as he grows, develops a very strong and very pinpointed sense of smell. And he's left to kind of enhance these skills by himself, and he figures out that he can decipher different scents and work out what components make up these scents, and he ends up wanting to become a perfumer. He wants to make perfume, and he ends up becoming an apprentice to one of the most famous perfumeries. I'm too tired for this. But he ends up becoming an apprentice, and he learns the ropes of how to actually make perfume. And while he is out in the street one day, he notices a smell that he has never noticed before, and it ends up coming from a very, very beautiful red-headed woman. And Grenouille has deciphered that this red-headed woman is a virgin. So he then starts killing off other red-headed women to try and find the perfect smell, which comes from a virgin. Yeah, this book is twisted, it is weird, and we basically follow that storyline from about, I would say about 40% through the book. That is when we first get introduced to that kind of storyline of Grenouille finding his passions and what he wants to pursue. It's a very interesting book. The writing style is quite clunky. I can't actually remember what I rated this, hold on. So I ended up rating this 3.75 stars. The writing style was quite clunky. I think this was written in like the 80s, 70s or 80s. I just wasn't a big fan of the writing style, and I felt like everything, maybe that was the author's intention, maybe that was Suskind's intention, but I felt like everything was really over-explained. And it didn't need to be. And the ending of this book, if you've read this book and you know the ending, it is one of the weirdest things I've ever read and put in my brain. It's just a very odd book. So I settled on 3.75 because the actual premise of the story and some parts of it are actually written beautifully. It's just that some parts, it seemed like they were very over-explained, and it was a bit clunky and rugged, but again, maybe that was his intention. So that was the first book I read in 2025. The next book, this links to the series that I have been on about, Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This was my first 5-star read of the year. I think it has been my only 5-star read so far. I absolutely adored this. I don't tab books very often, but you could see by the tabs, I adore this book. I adore Violet. I adore Xaden and their relationship. I can completely understand why people pine over Xaden and they want a Xaden in their life. I completely get it now. And this book was just phenomenal. It was 5 stars. So we follow Violet, and she wants to be a scribe. That is what she believes her destiny to be, until one day her mother turns around and says, absolutely not, I'm putting your name down so you can become a dragon rider. Violet's not happy about that, because that means she has to cross the parapet, which is basically a death trap. If you cross it, you are then part of the Basquiat War College and you get to study. There's lots of different factions and segments, such as scribes and dragon riders, and Violet then meets Xaden, and Xaden's father was actually responsible for the death of Violet's brother Brennan, and Violet's mother was actually responsible for the death of Xaden's father, so they both have grudges against each other. So this is true enemies to lovers. And this is slow burn. This is very slow burn, but when it starts with a massive spark and then turns into a massive bonfire that reaches the ceiling. It's good. It is really good. I completely get what all the hype is about. I absolutely loved it, and I did end up reading the rest of the series, which is what my reading vlog is, that will be out very soon, hopefully. Reading the whole Empyrean series over the space of a few months, because my reading slump just took over everything. But absolutely love this first 5-star read of the year. Let's move on to February, shall we? In February, I only read one book, and it was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. I loved Fourth Wing so much that I had to jump right into the series. I just had to finish the series. I had to know what happened. And then I found out that Rebecca Yarros is releasing 2 more books in the Empyrean series. So the series is not finished yet, which is annoying as all heck. But hey ho, we've still got to wait a couple of years before books 4 and 5 come out. I did not like this one as much. I settled on a 4-star for this one just because there were some moments in this book where I was like, wow. That is, like, the visualizations were gorgeous. The images I got in my brain were gorgeous. I do love Rebecca Yarros' writing style. I think it is phenomenal. I just felt like everything that was missed out in Fourth Wing was kind of crammed into this one. And everything was just really confusing. And then the ending, I was like, hang on a minute. How have we led to this? Yeah, so I settled on a 4-star for this one because I did still really enjoy it, but definitely not as good as Fourth Wing. Let's move on to March and my final month in this update, and it was actually my best month so far. So after Iron Flame, I felt like I needed a little bit of a break, so I decided to read a set of graphic novels that I read many, many years ago, so I didn't actually remember the storyline. I ended up binging the entire series, and it is the Law comics. So these are written by Rick Remender and Greg Ticini, I think that's how you say it. So there are 5 volumes in this series. So we have number 1, which is The Delirium of Hope. Number 2, which is Before the Dawn Burns Us. Number 3, which is Shore of the Dying Light. Number 4, Outer Aspects of Inner Attitudes, and 5, Light Brings Light. So this is like a futuristic dystopian style graphic novel series, and the basic premise is that the sun became radioactive and humans fled to the deepest, darkest parts of the ocean to escape the radiation from the sun. And it's about humans trying to find a new home because they can't stay underwater forever, but they have been underwater for millennia, and they've been sending space probes up above onto the surface to see if they can find new planets or new habitats that they can come back up to the surface and live on. So our main character, Stell, everyone else has given up hope, but our main character, Stell, she has not, and she is constantly trying to use technology to try and find a new home for her and her family. She has a husband and she has 2 daughters and a son. The 2 daughters end up getting captured and the husband ends up getting killed. Stell manages to escape and she makes it her mission to get her girls back. And that is what the rest of the comics are. It's Stell's journey on trying to find her daughters, as well as trying to find hope for humanity and trying to find a new home that they can rehabilitate and live on. And this is a very thought-provoking story about hope and never giving up on what you think is right, whether you get hurt yourself in the process or you lose people you love around you in the process. And there were very emotional parts in this story, and I really, really enjoyed it. I actually got these graphic novels as a gift for my husband because this is definitely his type of thing, and I've now read them twice. I really, really enjoyed them, so I would highly recommend them if you wanted like a sci-fi dystopian graphic novel that you can really sink your teeth into, but also binge very, very quickly. So the next book that I read in March, I still wasn't quite over Iron Flame, so I felt like I still needed to like cleanse my palate a little bit more, so I decided to read Howl's Moving Castle by Diana Wynne Jones. Now this is the book that the Studio Ghibli film is actually based off. Diana Wynne Jones actually had a lot of input in the making of Howl's Moving Castle by Studio Ghibli, and I think that's amazing. I can't remember what I rated this. I think I rated this 3.5. I rated this 3.75 stars. So I think because I watched the movie so much growing up, I can't help but make comparisons, and There were certain parts of this that I didn't enjoy as much as the movie. Howl looks completely different because there are illustrations in this. The illustrations of Howl in this are much different than what Howl looks like in the Studio Ghibli film. And Calcifer looks different as well, and there are certain things in the book that I don't know, I just didn't enjoy as much. And you know, I do feel like this is, I wouldn't even say it's a young adult book. I would say this is like a children's book, like middle grade. So I did find the writing to be a bit childish for me personally, but I think that's the actual point. It's not an adult book, it's a middle grade children's book. So I just don't think I got along with the writing style as much as I thought I would. But it was still a very whimsy read. It was actually perfect for spring, which I really liked. I do have the 2 other books in the series by Diana Wynne Jones, but I don't think I'm going to continue on with them. Just because of that writing style, I don't think I could read another 2 books with that writing style. So Howl's Moving Castle ended up being the last book that I read in March, because I started Onyx Storm in March, but I didn't actually finish it until today, which is the 6th of April, so that will be in my next reading wrap up. So that is everything I read in the first quarter of 2025. I know it is not a lot, and I know that I will get my mojo back with my reading. I know it will happen. It's just getting there, and like I said, there are some big life changes coming, and I really hope that that can, you know, bring my reading joy back, and fingers crossed it does, because I have missed reading, I've missed filming videos for you guys, and yeah, I really hope that I do get my mojo back. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see more from my channel, and thank you to those who have stuck around. It really means so much, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye!